Hey boys and girls, what's going on, man? Welcome back to another episode of New Stuff TV, your spot for infotainment for the average consumer. I'm your host, Antoine. I just like to watch a bunch of TV Richardson. And today I'm going to be giving you 6 cheat codes for the Bravia 5, all right? You guys ready for this? Let me do a little bit of housekeeping first of all. This is going to be a super laid back casual video because I was sitting here watching the Game of Thrones. You see that? That's the Bravia 5 right there. And it is looking real Sony-esque. Sony has a way about it, making pictures look good, man. And I'm gonna tell you how to get there. So my first cheat code is actually gonna be part of the initial setup. Now I know pretty much everybody has Wi-Fi if you're gonna be using a smart TV, but the best way to get the best streaming quality out of your TV is to hardwire it. So if you have access to it and you can actually perform this task, go ahead and hardwire the back of that TV with an Ethernet cable, and that way you're gonna be getting the strongest, most reliable streaming. Now, if you look over there at this Bravia 5, I'm gonna hit the gear button for the settings, and then we're gonna go to all settings, and then we're gonna go down and, well, it's right there, channel and inputs. So we're gonna go there, then we're gonna go to external inputs. And the next step is to slide all the way down to HDMI signal format. So this TV's got 4 HDMI inputs, HDMI 1, 2, 3, and 4. I usually hang out at HDMI eARC3. You know what I mean, it's right there. Anyways, go over there and then slide that variable refresh rate toggle on. I use a PS5, so I'm taking advantage of that variable refresh rate. If you're not, I don't know if it's gonna matter to you or not, because what's important here is that you used enhanced format, either the one that just says plain enhanced format or the one that says enhanced format with VRR 4K 120. Those are two kind of hardware-ish things that you need to adjust before you get this TV going. That way you can start pulling the best quality out of that Bravia 5. Now let's jump into the quick menu stuff, because this is actually pretty important to me as I'm using the television. This really doesn't have much to do with the picture per se, but it's just the user experience. And that's the quick menu settings. Hit that little monkey wrench at the top of there and you'll see all this stuff pop up at the bottom of your screen. This is Sony's quick menu. And what I like to do is I like to put my screen, my sleep timer here, because I'm always falling asleep on the couch or, falling asleep watching TV in the bed. And I like the TV to shut off during some part of that, right? So I keep that right there. And I'm bringing this up because how do I get it there? Well, this whole menu bar is customizable. So if you slide over there to the right, to the right side of it, you can hit that edit button. And you see all these ones that have the check mark off? Those are the ones I did not include. And you see all the ones with the check mark on? Those are the ones I included. And then once you actually include or exclude them, you can just kind of press and hold each little button there, click on move, and then you can slide it to the position you want it to be in. And I'll show you what I've got going here. That way, maybe you can get some ideas on how you can operate yours. So I got my sleep timer first, because that's paramount. And then you got your adjust for ambient light automatically on. I turn this on because when I'm watching TV in the dark, I don't want the TV just blaring light at me. So I use that ambient light setting all the time. I usually have it on, but for the purpose of this video, we're turning it off. And there's your actual manual brightness there. There's your picture mode. I keep this here because sometimes I need to change it. I pretty much watch everything on IMAX Enhanced, but you got these picture modes here, which we'll talk about briefly in a minute, but these picture modes are actually really good, so I would definitely take advantage of them. The one I use most is IMAX Enhanced, but when I'm watching sports, I typically put it on standard or vivid, and I might do a slight adjustment from there, but we're gonna leave it on IMAX Enhanced because that's where I do most of my stuff. Got your speakers there, Bluetooth. Definitely leave that toggle up there. That way, if you're hooking up some headphones or something, that's always at the quick point. And then you got this voice zoom 3. So sometimes you can't hear dialogue. You need to be able to quickly get into that setting and turn up or down that dialogue depending on what you want. And then there's the timer. That's gonna be like a bonus when we talk about it later. We'll do that later at the end of the video if you stick around for the bonus. Now at this point, I gotta bring up a little side note, man. My HOA fees are due pretty soon, so I partnered up with today's video sponsor so they can tell you about their new product. Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, good. Now you get to check out the world's first dynamic wireless microphone for gaming. It's from Maono and they call it the PD100W. Now, of course, you get to connect it to your PC and gaming console, but you also get to connect it to your mobile device, such as your phone or your tablet. And get this, it supports a 2.4 gigahertz wireless connection, so it's perfect for gamers who like a nice clean setup. And as far as background noise goes, don't even worry about it, man. The PD100W's got you covered with 7 layers of hardware and software noise reduction. That way your voice always comes comes in super clean and crispy, even in untreated rooms. Now here's a quick question. How does my voice sound? Really good, right? Yeah, that's because of that 82 dB signal to noise ratio. Broadcast quality, baby. And if you're into that RGB life, you can customize the look to match your setup within the Maono Link app. And that's where you can also fine tune your audio, noise cancellation, and even the EQ presets for gaming and streaming. Oh, and by the way, you can do all of this stuff for up to 40 hours on battery life because it's truly wireless. And now that I done shown you how to step your microphone game up, let's go ahead and get back to that video. All right, man, I'm glad y'all stuck around for that. Dude, I got them bills to pay, man. Appreciate it. Either way, we got to get back to the last 3 cheat codes. So pull out your controller and press up, down, left, right, B-A. I got you. Anyways, for those of y'all who know, y'all know what's up. Now look, these next 2 cheat codes are actually, they have nothing to do with my personal preference or personal settings. This has everything to do with the relationship between Sony and Amazon and Netflix. So look over here at the Bravia 5 and you see I got Prime Video and Netflix right there. Now for those people who really don't like to tinker around with settings or really don't know how, this is gonna be clutch for you, man. Press on that little gear button that I told you about earlier. Get down here to this little page, go to picture and sound. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, this is gonna be so easy for you because we got 2 things here I wanna show you. Adjust only for the Netflix app. Every app has this toggle on the Sony Bravia TV. So if you don't want to screw with your other settings for your other apps like Hulu, Peacock, Disney Plus, they all have that toggle so you can actually turn that on. So we're only adjusting things for Netflix here. Then we go up to picture, okay? And then what happens is once you toggle down once right there, it says Netflix calibrated mode. It is currently off. If you don't want to tinker with the TV to make it look good, I mean, it's going to look good regardless, because let's be honest, Sony TVs look really great right out of the box. There's really nothing you need to do to them, but some of us like to just get that slight edge. So this is where it happens. Turn this on. Did you see what happened to the TV? I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up or not, but that just happened to the TV, and now it is calibrated for Netflix. Amazon has the same feature, and this is basically Sony's way of saying, hey, we know what TV this is. You've got the Bravia 5, the Bravia 7, the Bravia 9, the Bravia 8 Mark II. I have all of those TVs, right? And they all have this. And Sony knows what TV I'm watching, so they quickly communicate with Amazon and Netflix to say, hey, this TV needs to be on these settings in order for it to look like the director intended it to look. And they shake hands, they say, bet. And then you got this beautiful picture here. And that is an amazing thing that I have never seen a TV company do before. That's 2 cheat codes for you, one for Amazon and one for Netflix. Let's go to Sony Pictures Core, man. Go up in here. This is another one, man, where you can get good stuff. We're talking about, dude, when I set you up with this, I told you to adjust your HDMI settings and I told you to hardwire your internet so you can get the best streaming possible. So this is how we do that, man. This right here, Sony Pictures Core. Did y'all know Sony makes movies? So they know how these joints are supposed to look, right? So let me show you what you got going here. Check this out. All right, so on the home page, you just scoot over to the left, go down to settings, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why you need to do this. All this content in Sony Pictures Core, when you get a Sony TV or a Bravia TV, you're gonna get some credits to go get a free movie in here. Oh, you know what? While we're here, let me just show you what I got, man. Let me take you to my library. Let me see here, my library. There we go. And then I'm gonna show you a few things that I got, man. I got 65, Bad Boys, American Hustle, Book of Clarence. That is such a good movie. But that's what you get when you get a Bravia TV, man. You get a bunch of credits to do or to use, but then you got to go into settings because I set you up talking about how to get the best streaming quality out of the things that you're streaming. Now, when you come in here, this is what's going to happen. Go down to audio and video, go over to the right, and then it's going to be set to default by default. What you need to do is click on that, Dolby Atmos, because I'm an Atmos man. If you don't have Dolby Atmos, it is what it is. Use DTS, DTX, but just don't do default, whatever you do. And now we're gonna slide back over to the left and go down to Pure Stream, and you see right there it says Disable. What we gotta do is click on this, and then I want you to read this, bro. Pure Stream provides streaming up to 80 Mbps, delivering lossless UHD picture quality on a wide range of content. Dude, that is the purest. Dude, that's a lot of data that they're pulling in to give you UHD picture. I ain't talking about HD. I ain't talking about full HD. I'm talking about ultra HD. All right, so it's gonna eat up some data. Okay, so your internet needs to be prepared for this because you're getting freaking 4K quality on your brand new Bravia 5. And by the way, I don't even think I said this earlier. All these techniques are gonna work for all of your Bravia TVs, such as the 2, the 3, the 5, the Bravia 7, the 9, and so forth, the Bravia 8s and stuff like that. But that is what you do there to get the best streaming quality out of those 3 apps. You got Netflix, Amazon, and Sony Pictures Core. But now we're finally gonna go into some actual picture settings, and I'm gonna help you out just with a couple of things, because I don't want you to dive too deep into your settings, because if you do, dude, you're gonna spend like forever in there just tweaking settings, and that's no fun. Nobody wants to like spend their whole life in the picture settings. So what you do is you hit that little gear, and then you go into picture and sound, and this is gonna pop up, all right, on the side. You see that over there? We're only adjusting this for the Max app because I don't want the rest of my pictures on the, all my other apps messed up. So we're gonna go into picture, and then these are the things that I need you to set, okay? We're gonna go into brightness. That's where we're stopping first. We're gonna leave all this the same all the way up until we get, well, if it's at, we gotta go up, my bad. Dolby Vision Dark, that did not come up earlier in my quick settings. That's because when you watch certain things like HBO Max, it gives you Dolby Vision options. So we got Dolby Vision Dark, Bright, and Vivid. Me personally, in a dark room, I prefer dark. In a bright room, I prefer bright. So when I turn these lights on, Game of Thrones gets shown on Dolby Vision Bright, but we're in a dark room, so we're gonna leave it on dark. And you see how these settings kind of adjust down there? So what happens is, I need you to change these settings if they're not already like this. Leave brightness at max, contrast at 90%, gamma at 0 where it is, HDR tone mapping. A lot of times this is gonna be off. And I don't know if you can see that happening on TV right now, but all the blacks are almost kind of grayish. But then when you hit gradation preferred, it darkens them a little bit, right? And then you have the brightness preferred. I actually prefer the gradation preferred, and that just kind of evens out thing and allows the darks to be kind of black. Then there's black level. I usually keep it at 50. Depending on the content, I will break it down to about 48 to 49, and this just deepens the blacks, but sometimes you can go too hard on that, and your blacks are kind of washed out and they become like a dark gray. Leave that black adjust off, but skip down here to advanced contrast enhancer. Leave that on medium. That's pretty much a sweet spot for that. And then auto local dimming. I have mine set to high. Sometimes I go to medium, but I usually keep it on high. And I always keep peak luminance at high because these TVs are capable of getting pretty bright. And I want to pull out those specular highlights. For those of you who don't know what that is, a specular highlight is when you have like a dark scene and somebody's wearing like a belt buckle with some gold on it or a diamond, and you can still see that joint because that peak luminance is creeping through in tandem with the auto local dimming and the advanced contrast enhancer. They all three pretty much work together to provide that real contrasting look and stuff like that. Then you go down to color, don't touch nothing. And then you got clarity, don't touch nothing. The last stop is motion. Sony motion is peak amongst all TV manufacturers. But there might be something you want to do, and this is it, motion flow. By the way, keep center motion on high, but motion flow is where you want to go hang out. Now I'll explain this to you real quick. So you got your auto mode, and you have the custom mode, and then you have off. I usually don't turn this off. I leave it on custom. And then you have these two options, smoothness for film and smoothness for camera. Now, smoothness for film is when you're watching TV shows like Game of Thrones or movies and stuff like that. Keeping it on minimum gives it that cinematics, look, like everything's just more natural, right? If you crank this all the way up to max, you're gonna get that soap opera look where everything's like smooth and robotic, almost like a video game. So keep it on minimum. Now, when you're watching sports, I got two options for you. Either A, you leave this on minimum and you can control it by putting your TV on vivid or standard in that first menu that I showed you. That's usually what I do. I leave this at minimum, and then on the quick settings, I usually put the picture mode into vivid or standard, depending on what the sports is, right? Or you can crank this up to max, and then that's when you can get that fast track motion when you're watching stuff like, I don't know, NASCAR, F1, or some football or something like that, something with fast motion. The TV keeps up extremely well, and that's smoothness for camera. But I like to leave mine on minimum and control it on the other side, which is here in the quick settings. I'm going to show you one more time. This is where I would control that. I put it on standard or vivid. But once again, I'm more of an IMAX enhanced guy. So that's pretty much the end of all the stuff I wanted to show you as far as my 6 cheat codes. But if you're still here, maybe you'll listen to this last bonus too. So the first one is we got PS Remote Play. What this does is right here behind me, I have a Bravia 9 and it is physically connected to my PS5. So what that does is lets me play my PS5 upstairs. But when I take this Bravia 5 downstairs, I can go into this native PS Remote Play app and then I can connect Remote Play and use a Bluetooth controller to play on my TV downstairs with this PlayStation up here. It's almost like having a PlayStation in multiple rooms in your house. That is so clutch. That is definitely a cheat code for you. Now this last one is living decor. Scroll over here and I'm gonna show you how to work this, man. I mentioned timers earlier. Living decor and timers work kind of in tandem. And you know, Google TV, they usually have their standard pictures that you can use as screensavers and they look fine, but for some reason these just look better in living decor. And then you got all these different sections you can choose from. So look at that, you see, it says see all. So this is all the stuff you can choose from as far as like artwork to show on your TV when it's not in use. My favorite is dusk till dawn. And then you can also set a timer to go with that. So at certain times of the day, your TV can come on and then go off at a certain time. And you know, maybe within an hour or so of each other, they can just come on and you can have some nice artwork on your TV and then it turns off by itself. I love this feature, man. It's such an underrated feature that hardly anybody ever talks about, but these photos are freaking magnificent. I'll show you this one and then I'll go to another one. These are so much better in my opinion. And it's morning time right now. So you're seeing this hazy, foggy, you know, artwork here. And it just kind of goes along with the day, whatever time of day it is. If it was nighttime, these would be more nighttime photos. And it's so clutch, man. And that's my last tip. Now, for those of y'all who are still sitting here watching, go ahead and slap a thumbs up on this bad boy. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get back to watching Game of Thrones. But until I see y'all again, keep being good to each other and I'll see you when I see you.